When we vertically scan through the answer choices for this question, we will not find a specific point of attack to apply any of the 7 concepts that are usually tested. So that's when we understand that this question might require a construction or a meaning-based attack. Now we need to be very careful when proceeding with a meaning-based attack, because when we read the question, we might go by the logic and get a sense of what the sentence is intending, and we might actually choose an answer choice which might be distorting the meaning in a certain way, but that distortion might not seem obvious to us because we assume that this is the construction that conveys the intended meaning. So when dealing with meaning-based attacks, we need to be very careful about how words are grouped and check exactly what meaning differences they make. So the sentence reads that the CEO diffused the situation. And when we read the sentence itself, we understand that she diffused the situation by making a public statement. And we also understand that this was a very tense situation. But check out exactly what this relative clause is doing. Now, this relative clause is obviously modifying the situation, the noun in front of it. And this reads that this situation was tense with a statement. So the situation was tense with a statement. What does that even mean? For example, when we say the student was tense with anticipation, you can understand what this means, right? The student was in anticipation and the student was tense with this anticipation. So when we read this sentence, we might assume that, well, she diffused the situation with her statement, but notice how this relative clause starts and groups these words together. So saying that the situation was tense with her statement will be absolutely illogical. A goes off. Now, a difference that can be noticed in B and C is the use of the situation that was tense and the situation which was tense. Now, the main difference between these two things is that this is an essential modifier. This relative clause is an essential modifier, whereas this is a non-essential modifier. And that means if you take this out of the equation, the sentence should still make sense. So if I remove this, then the sentence would mean that she diffused a situation by stating something. So she diffused a situation by stating something. What situation is this? So since this sentence does not make sense, we understand that we need to have an essential modifier defining exactly what situation this is. So this CEO diffused a situation that was quite tense, comma, by stating that. Now this becomes an adverbial modifier to define how she actually diffused the situation by stating something. So B's construction and logic seems perfectly fine. Let's hold on to that. And we can get rid of C because this elimination of the non-essential modifier makes the sentence illogical. Now in D, we once again have a grouping of words that's quite odd. So we have this prepositional phrase, tense situation with a public statement. When you read this properly, tense situation with a public statement, you understand that this once again makes no logical sense. And finally in E, we have this logic that she diffused a situation by stating the debacle. So if you notice the difference between B and E, we have stating that something versus stating the debacle itself. So it's understandable that we need to say that she diffused the situation by stating that the debacle was something something. So if we don't have this that clause, it will simply become she stated the debacle, and that does not make sense. E goes off. This leaves us with the right logical answer, B for Bravo.